Have you ever imagined getting a motorcycle that seems to offer the full package, modern design, advanced electronics, long-distance comfort, and a price tag that almost feels unreal? That's exactly what QJMotor is promising with its brand new SRT600 S, just launched for the UK market. But here's the real question. Does this bike truly have what it takes to stand up against established giants like Yamaha, Honda, and Suzuki, or is it just another budget-friendly promise that might not hold up in the real world? Let's get straight to it. QJMotor is a Chinese brand owned by the Tianjiang Group, the same company that controls Benelli, Morbidelli, and Keyway. So this isn't a fly-by-night newcomer. The brand has been around for years, but only recently started pushing hard into Western markets. With the SRT600 S, they're making a statement. They don't just want to compete on price. They want to deliver a bike packed with features that normally cost thousands more on bikes from well-known manufacturers, and that price point is jaw-dropping. 4,099 plus 200 in road fees. If you know what mid-capacity touring bikes cost in Europe or the United States, you'll understand why this number makes heads turn. For comparison, a Yamaha Tracer 7, a direct rival, comes in at around 8,800 in the UK. That's nearly double the price. But let's be honest, a low sticker price alone doesn't automatically make a bike a good deal, and we as riders know that too well. Here's where things get tricky. Many riders still hesitate when it comes to Chinese brands. There's a stigma, doubts about durability, fears about spare parts availability, low resale value, or just a perception that the build quality isn't on par with a Honda or a Yamaha. On the flip side, times have changed. Almost every major manufacturer now has some level of production in China, and the quality has improved drastically compared to the 90s or early 2000s. So the real question becomes, can QJMotor strike a true balance between aggressive pricing and real-world reliability? Visually, the SRT600 S doesn't look like a budget bike at all. In fact, at a glance, it looks like a mashup of Harley-Davidson's Pan America, Honda's VFR 800X, and Yamaha's Tracer 9. It's a sharp, modern-looking machine with full fairings, a tall windscreen, and a massive 20.5-litre fuel tank, clearly built for long-distance comfort. But unlike true adventure bikes, this one rides on 17-inch wheels front and rear. That's QJMotor's way of saying this is not an off-road warrior, this is a road-focused tourer, designed to eat up asphalt rather than gravel. Seat height is set at 830mm, which is fairly accommodating for a wide range of riders. You don't need to be a towering 6-footer to flat-foot this bike at a stop. That opens the door to a bigger audience, especially newer riders moving up from smaller displacement bikes. At the heart of the SRT600 S is a 504cc parallel twin engine with a 270-degree crankshaft. Built to mimic the feel of a V-twin, it puts out 55 horsepower at 8,250 RPM and 40 lb-ft of torque at 5,500 RPM. On paper, these numbers don't scream performance, but they're perfectly in line with rivals like Honda's CB500X, which has earned a reputation as a solid and reliable touring option. And here's where the first big doubt comes in. Will this engine, combined with the bike's overall weight and purpose, really deliver the long-distance touring experience riders expect? Because it takes more than a low price and a long spec sheet to win over serious motorcyclists. Touring riders value one thing above all: trust. Trust that the bike won't leave them stranded, that the engine won't overheat in traffic, and that the build quality will hold up after thousands of miles. This is where things get interesting. QJMotor claims they've packed the SRT600 S with premium components, safety systems, and rider comforts that you wouldn't normally expect in this price range. And that's exactly what we're going to break down next. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the chassis, suspension, brakes, and onboard technology, analyzing whether this bike is just a flashy bargain or a serious contender in the middleweight touring segment. Now that we've set the stage, let's dig deeper into what the QJMotor SRT600 S actually delivers when you look past the price tag and shiny press photos. Because on paper it looks like the bike comes fully loaded. But what does that mean for real-world performance and long-term ownership? Let's start with the chassis and suspension. QJMotor didn't cut corners here, at least not on the spec sheet. Up front, you get adjustable Marzocchi upside-down forks. That's a big statement, because Marzocchi is a name associated with higher-end European bikes, not budget tourers. In the rear, the bike runs an oil-damped monoshock, which might not sound fancy compared to some multi-adjustable units, but for this price point, it's more than reasonable. Together, this setup should deliver a balance between comfort for long-distance rides and the stability you need when pushing the bike through corners. Stopping power comes from twin 320mm discs up front, clamped by 4 piston calipers and a single 260mm disc at the rear. That's not far off from what you'd see on bikes in the next price bracket, and certainly more than you'd expect on a sub-5K tourer. Paired with Maxi's Max Venture tires, this bike is clearly set up for road-focused performance. Again, QJMotor isn't pretending this is a dirt bike. Those 17-inch wheels and street-oriented rubber tell you everything. This is a long-haul road machine. But the real eyebrow raiser here is the amount of tech and rider aids you get out of the box. The SRT600 S comes with 2 ride modes and switchable traction control. That's the kind of feature that, until recently, was reserved for bikes nearly twice the price. Add in a 7-inch TFT display, and suddenly, this budget bike starts looking premium. And it's not just a simple display. It offers tire pressure monitoring and even turn-by-turn navigation through a smartphone app. Now, anyone who's used these systems knows they can be hit or miss, especially in areas with poor mobile coverage, but it's still impressive that it's included at all. QJMotor didn't stop there. This bike comes standard with a list of extras that many riders usually have to pay hundreds, if not thousands, to add on. Heated grips? Standard. Heated seat? Standard. Handguards, engine and frame crash bars, a skid plate, and even an exhaust guard. All included. You also get auxiliary LED lights, a center stand, and both a 12-volt socket and a USB port. That's a touring rider's dream setup, and it's all baked into the base price. For the launch period, QJMotor is even throwing in a full 3-piece luggage set at no extra cost. After the promotion, it'll cost extra, but even then, the overall package is astonishing for the money. Now, here's where we hit the potential conflict. Specs are great, but motorcycling isn't just about what looks good on a brochure. It's about how these parts work together, day in and day out. Will those Marzocchi forks really perform to the level riders expect? Or are they entry-level versions that carry the brand name but not the same refinement? Will the electronics hold up under real touring conditions? Or will they be buggy and frustrating like we've seen with some other budget setups? And perhaps most importantly, how will the bike feel after thousands of miles of vibration, rain, dust, and everything else that comes with real-world riding? There's also the matter of dealer support and parts availability. Buying a Yamaha or Honda means you can walk into a dealership almost anywhere in the world and get service or spares. With QJMotor being new to Western markets, riders will naturally worry about whether they'll get that same level of backup. If something breaks, how long will it take to fix? Will warranty claims be honored smoothly, or will they turn into a headache? These are the questions that go beyond horsepower numbers and TFT screens, and that's the heart of the conflict here. The SRT600 S looks like it's punching way above its weight. On paper, it's equipped like a premium touring bike, but paper specs don't win trust. Real-world reliability does. In the final chapter, we're going to step back and look at the bigger picture. We'll ask, is the QJMotor SRT600 S really worth the risk for riders looking for an affordable touring machine? Or is this a gamble that only makes sense if you're willing to trade proven reliability for unbeatable value? So after everything we've covered, the question remains, is the QJMotor SRT600 S the real deal, or is it simply too good to be true? Because let's be honest, a motorcycle that offers heated grips, a heated seat, crash protection, auxiliary lights, advanced electronics, a huge TFT screen and even luggage, all for under $5,000. Sounds like something pulled out of a dream catalog. But dreams and reality don't always match, and this is where we need to weigh the pros and cons. On the positive side, the SRT600 S represents an incredible value proposition. It's hard to ignore a bike that undercuts rivals by thousands of pounds while offering more equipment out of the box. For new riders moving into mid-capacity touring, or for commuters who want a reliable workhorse that can also handle weekend trips, this bike checks nearly every box. Its 554cc twin-cylinder engine isn't going to blow anyone away, but it's right in the sweet spot for efficiency, manageable power, and long-distance comfort. Pair that with the 20.5-litre fuel tank, and you're looking at solid range between fill-ups. The comfort features are another huge selling point. Anyone who's done long days in the saddle knows how much difference heated grips and a heated seat make when temperatures drop. The fact that QJMotor includes these as standard is almost unheard of at this price level. Add to that the center stand, handguards, bash plate, and integrated charging ports, and you start realizing that this bike was built with touring practicality in mind. These aren't flashy gimmicks. They're the kind of everyday conveniences riders usually have to pay extra for. But here's the reality check. Motorcycling is about more than specs and gadgets. It's about trust and heritage. Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki, and BMW have spent decades building reputations for reliability and dealer support. Riders know they can push their bikes across continents and count on them to make it home. QJMotor, at least in the Western market, doesn't have that trust yet. For many riders, the idea of buying from a brand that just arrived in the UK feels like a gamble. And that gamble extends beyond reliability. There's also the matter of resale value. Established bikes like the Honda CB500X or Suzuki V-Strom 650 hold their value because riders recognize the names and have confidence in them. With the SRT600 S, resale might be a tougher pill to swallow, at least until QJMotor proves itself over the next few years. Early adopters will be the ones paving that road, either confirming the bike's durability or exposing its weaknesses. So, who is this bike really for? In my view, the SRT600 S makes the most sense for riders who want maximum bang for their buck, who value equipment and features over brand prestige, and who are willing to take a calculated risk. Maybe you're a commuter who racks up miles every week and appreciates things like heated seats and crash bars. Maybe you're a new rider looking for your first mid-capacity touring machine without spending close to $9,000. Or maybe you're someone who already owns a trusted main bike and wants a secondary machine that offers comfort and utility without breaking the bank. At the same time, if you're a rider who prioritizes brand reputation, dealer network, and proven long-term reliability above all else, you might hesitate. You might stick with a Yamaha or Honda, even if it means paying double, simply because you know what you're getting. And that's a valid choice. Motorcycles are deeply personal, and peace of mind is priceless on two wheels. In the end, the QJMotor SRT600 S is a disruptor. It forces us to ask, why are we paying so much more for bikes from established brands when a newcomer can deliver this much for less than $5,000? That's a conversation the industry doesn't like to have, but it's one that riders will increasingly start asking as Chinese manufacturers refine their products and push harder into Western markets. Will the SRT600 S hold up after 20,000 or 30,000 miles? Only time and real riders will tell. But right now, what QJMotor has done is put a bike on the table that demands attention. It may not replace a Yamaha Tracer or Honda CB500X in the hearts of traditionalists just yet, but it will absolutely make a lot of riders think twice before automatically handing over extra thousands for a familiar badge. So, is it worth it? If you're the kind of rider who values features, comfort, and price above brand legacy, the SRT600 S is a bold choice that could pay off in a big way. If you're more risk-averse, it might be better to wait a couple of years and see how these bikes perform in the real world. Either way, one thing is clear. QJMotor has just raised the stakes in the mid-capacity touring game.